Great. Thank you very much. And good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I am Rob Hale, founder and chief operating officer of Travel and Relax. And tonight I am honored to be joined with our company's CEO and tonight's moderator, Maurice Washington, my wife, Lisa, who serves as our director of celebrations, and an amazing behind the scenes staff of Max Ratkai, James Mamadi, and Heather Smith, who help us in our ongoing efforts to always provide top-level customer service to our guests. Travel and Relax was founded 17 years ago on August 1st, 2004, with the mission to unify the world one traveler at a time. These tours began in June of 2020 as COVID-19 challenged our world and dramatically changed how people travel. As Travel and Relax considered how we could help you escape the stresses of today's world, we felt that offering you virtual tours around the world to some of the world's great destinations would provide you with a great escape from today's stresses, all from the comfort of your own environment. Our major tours are being held bi-monthly, with the regional tours being held every other month. All of our tours allow you to dream of future travel experiences which you might enjoy. Tonight, we are very pleased to offer you an exciting tour of Alaska, which will be presented to you by our friend Tia Froley, Tourism Sales Manager for Visit Anchorage. Before Tia begins, while we do want to hear from you, to prevent the distractions of background noise, all attendees will be muted. There will be a question and answer period at the end if you have questions. Please enter them in the chat box or raise your hand in the participants box. Our moderator will make sure that your questions get asked. And now I'm very excited and pleased to introduce you to Tia Froley.
Well, hello. Thank you, Rob. Thank you to the whole team at Travel and Relax. Great to be back here. I'd like to say that I'm normally coming from you live from downtown Anchorage, but I'm actually just landed in Florida. So I'm actually out on my first work trip. So it's great to see that we're recovering, we're coming back, and we're meeting with others that are interested in getting their clients out and traveling to Alaska. So hopefully you're here to learn a little bit more on how you can plan your great Alaska vacation. Again, I'm with Visit Anchorage, and what Visit Anchorage does is we're just here to help our friends at Travel and Relax make sure you are getting the best vacation that you want, whether it comes from travel advice, giving, like maybe you're asking for the perfect restaurant, we can help with that. And when you're visiting Alaska too, we have some visitor information centers as well. So I will tell you about those here in just a minute. But again, just greetings from Alaska. We are open. We were open in 2020. We are opening in 2021, and we are seeing a lot of visitors coming this summer. It's been fantastic to see everyone walking the streets. A lot of our operations, our local tour operators have added extra tours because we're getting more and more visitors coming our way. And it's not too late to still plan a little bit more time this summer to come visit us, but I'm gonna just talk a little bit about maybe coming in September in our fall season and what there is to do there. So as we know, everyone is kind of having a little bit of a shortage on car rentals, but we still have other options to get you around when you come to our beautiful state, and we remain open, and it's super exciting. We've been having a great summer. So again, this is Greetings from Alaska. This is from one of our many murals that we have in and around the downtown, midtown area. So you can do actually an art walk when you're in Anchorage and do these little fun photos. So this is right in downtown. And I have to mention that it is July, which means the bears are eating the salmon. And if you've ever listened to me do a talk, I am infatuated with the Fat Bear Week that we have. And they have this competition at Katmai, one of our national parks. We have 8 national parks in Alaska, Katmai being the iconic Brook Falls, where they started just now this month, July, just eating the salmon like crazy. And so they always have a competition of how much salmon they can eat from July till September. And right here, I'm showing on the top, that is Holly. She is the winner from 2019. And then the Lord of the Lard is what he was called, bear number 747 on the bottom. He was our 2020 winner this year. So if you are interested in following this, it's hashtag Fat Bear Week, or it's through Katmai Conservatory. And the writers are hilarious. And again, it's just starting up this month. So feel free to follow along. And I know as I've come out of this pandemic, I kind of feel a little bit like Holly these days. I tried to pack my clothes for this conference I'm at, and they're not quite fitting as well as they did prior to, but hey, we're eating a lot of salmon, eating a lot of good food, and we'll get back into it once we resume our normal lives, right? So again, my name is Tia Fraley. I am a lifelong Alaskan. I am very passionate about my hometown. I play in it just as much as I like to talk about it. So getting out on the trails and fishing and hiking and exploring glaciers. And I really love pizza. This picture of me is at Mountain High Pizza Pie, which is out in Talkeetna, Alaska. You too can have pizza wings when you go there and taste their delicious pizza. He actually, the gentleman that started it is from New York. So he's got like this original New York recipe to his red sauce. So really good pizza that we have here in Alaska. So again, super passionate about my hometown, and we're gonna dive a little deeper in it today and how you can still make that perfect plan for your vacation. So again, visit Anchorage, we run the visitor center. So when you are here visiting, please stop by our very iconic log cabin, which is right in downtown 4th and F. It is also the hub of all shuttles and day tours. So if you are going out on a day tour, they're always gonna pick up at our log cabin. If you're shuttled from a different hotel, maybe you're more, this is downtown. So if you're in more midtown area, that shuttle will drop you off right by our log cabin, because it's that iconic and it's right in downtown Anchorage. Also go inside. Our volunteers and staff are all retired teachers or bush pilots or college kids studying the hospitality and tourism industry. They'll tell you where to go to eat, who's catching, what's the tide. So when the fish are running through our Ship Creek, or if you want to fill out a postcard and brag to all your friends that you're in Anchorage and they're not, we have about 6 different postcards you can fill out, and we will mail that back because we want you to have bragging rights that you are in Anchorage and your friends are not. And then they'll want to come too. Another great thing about downtown Anchorage is you can see these flowers. Our municipality plants about 80,000 flowers each summer. So our downtown is just full of blooms and it's just beautiful. And I really think they outdid any flowers than before. They're just absolutely full and gorgeous this summer. So come check them out and visit our log cabin. About Alaska, I always like to show a map because it's very important when you're thinking and planning your trip to Alaska that you kind of have an idea of where you're going. There's so many times when I'm out there talking with those that want to visit Alaska, and I'm like, where do you want to see? Where do you want to go? And they're like, oh, well, I just want to go to Alaska. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. You should definitely come. It's beautiful. But do you know, like, if you say you're going to go on a cruise, what regions you're going to touch of Alaska? And that's where I think this map is just really great. And I love colors because then it stands out. So if you go on a cruise, of course, that's going to be that southeast area arm of the map. If you come across the Gulf of Alaska, which these cruises are not running this summer. So the Alaska cruises that are operating in 2021, that'll be starting here in about, I think like 10 days, our first sailing, are going to only stay in the southeast region of Alaska, because that just makes sense as we kick off and get that cruise season going again. But as you look at 2022, 2023 and beyond, if you come across the Gulf of Alaska and into South Central Alaska, you're going to get that green area. And that is where I'm located in Anchorage. And I'm going to talk about all those great little cities and communities that surround us. But of course, if you can hit all 5 regions, I know Rob and Lisa were able to do, I think it was 3 weeks, right, Rob, that you guys spent on a land trip, and they were able to reach South Central, interior, and up into the Arctic. So if you can kind of get more regions each time, I think you learn a little bit more. Was that right, Rob? 3 weeks?
We did about 3 weeks, and we did the Arctic, the interior, South Central, and then cruised.
And the cruise, so southeast, so you did 4 regions. So it really does take some time to hit all the regions. So I always say, when you talk about Alaska, you first have to ask how much time do you have? You know, do you have 7 days? Do you have 14 days, 10 days? Do you have 3 weeks? And then we can start talking about all the different regions because each region is so different and special in their own way. But for tonight, we're focusing on South Central Alaska, that green area on the map. And I always like to say, this is a little insider tip. I'd like to teach you how you can learn Alaska like the back of your hand. But if you take your right hand and flip it over like this, like you can see on this glove, that is actually the map of Alaska. So anytime you're talking to friends or family, if you flip it has to be your right hand, it'll look like the state of Alaska, like this little mitt right here. So again, your thumb's gonna be that southeast region, South Central is gonna be right in that middle, and then you see the interior, Arctic, and the Southwest. So a little insider tip when you can give the Alaska state sign to them. So how do you get into South Central Alaska? You fly into the Ted Stevens International Airport. It is a beautiful airport that we have right in Midtown Anchorage. Takes 10 minutes to get to downtown, or you're within miles of Midtown. So you're really close, absolutely gorgeous when you fly into Anchorage because you're going to just see all these mountain ranges. Of course, Alaska Airlines is our largest carrier that comes here, but we are seeing summer. So Frontier Airlines, I should say, just started direct from Denver to Anchorage this summer. They haven't flown into Anchorage for the last 12 years. So to see them come into the market was exceptional. And then Alaska Airlines actually started on June 18th. It was their first direct flight from Denver to Anchorage. So we're seeing these new city pairings coming through. We're seeing new airlines, new summer seasonal airlines come in as well. And it's been really great and has helped with that airfare. So check out some of the airfares. And that's why we're seeing more people come here, because unbelievable airfares into Anchorage right now. And when you get here, you hit Anchorage. This is a beautiful spot, like shot of Anchorage, because it kind of shows you the areas I'm talking about. So right in front here is like downtown Anchorage. You can see kind of the hotels and the corporate offices. You can see the railroad tracks. But then if you look to the right of this over here, above where Anchorage is written, that's the airport. So that's where our airport's located. And then Midtown is going to be right over here. Can you guys see my cursor moving? Yeah. So that's going to be Midtown here. And then here's the Cook Inlet, this water right here that leads into the two arms that hug Anchorage. So if you go to the south, that's the Turnagain Arm. So there's the Turnagain Arm right there. And then that's the Kenai Peninsula on the far side here. So it's kind of cool how you can kind of see all of that in perspective in this photo. But Anchorage is the beautiful, largest city that we have here in Alaska. And there's so many day trips you can do using Anchorage as a base camp. We always like to say Anchorage is urban and wild. Urban because we have all the amenities that you're looking for a city. We have a variety of different hotel options for you. The dining scene's amazing. We have outdoor concerts that are happening. We have fairs and festivals and markets happening. So real urban, like a city you'd want, but wild because we are surrounded by wilderness and you are outdoors literally in 5 minutes. So I know I've talked about Anchorage a lot in other webinars, so I'm just going to briefly talk about that, and then we're going to start getting on some day trips. So again, like I said, urban, the food scene, we have unbelievable, the seafood you must try, always fresh, never frozen. But we're a very diverse city, so you can find a little bit of every country here in Anchorage. So it's pretty amazing whether you want anywhere from Korean food to German food to our fresh seafood. I do see some chats coming in, but I'm not going to worry about that. Is that correct, Rob? Everyone can still hear me, right? That's not any issues there.
Yes, we can hear you, and questions will be answered at the end. So we'll go to the questions that are coming in.
Okay, excellent. Good. So again, with the dining scene, we also have some really cool breweries, distilleries, and cideries. And we have really anywhere from using our rhubarb to our blueberries to, there was once, and I haven't seen it lately, but there was a smoked salmon vodka that they use in Bloody Mary. So like I said, quite unique. And then we really love to enjoy the midnight sun that we have here in Alaska. Like we get to play for 22 hours under the daylight here. And so every day of the week, there's some type of concert. And it's not only just evening concerts. On Mondays at noon, there's music in the park for families. There's storytelling at 2 o'clock on Tuesdays. We have live after 5 in our town square on Thursdays. So there's always some type of really cool, try to get local artists to play at all these different events as well. So check out our anchorage.net, and there's an event page, and it'll tell you day by day what's happening when you get here. And like I said, we're wild because we are an award-winning trailside city. We know, as everyone is starting to travel now, it's all about the great outdoors, and Alaska was made to come and visit it because of our trails. It would be crazy if you came to Alaska and stayed in your hotel. That's just not what it's made to be. It is to be outdoors. It's to be on our trails from mild to wild, whether you want to go and summit one of our many peaks, or you want to play in one of our just downtown parks with your family. We have 224 parks just in and around the Anchorage area. So lots of wilderness, lots of trails from paved to the paved trails that we have, like the Tony Knowles Coastal Trail, where you can just jump on a bike right from downtown and ride as long as you want. It goes all the way to our recreational park called Kincaid. So that's about 11 miles, or you can just go for a little stroll at night after dinner. And this is right along the Cook Inlet. So you're looking to see if there's any beluga whales or any eagles, or lots of moose on this trail as well. So look at, she's in her jeans. So, I mean, it's easy just to pop on one of the bikes and go after you have dinner, or you can be on a wilderness trail. So it's up to you. But again, anytime you're on our trails, you're looking for wildlife. We understand when you come to Alaska, you want to see wildlife. They have been absolutely incredible this summer. They have been out. We have seen so many baby moose recently even in downtown Anchorage. Literally walking in downtown Anchorage, there was a moose with two calves with her. But again, when you're on the trails, you're just looking for them. And normally there's locals on the trails too. And there's a sign for moose. Like if you see someone going like this, that means they're telling you that a moose is coming up. So again, getting out our trails, they're unbelievable. Also, we're the cultural soul of Alaska. So we have the most natives that live here in the Anchorage area, and they bring a lot of their culture to our city, whether it's from Anchorage is one of the best places to buy from our Alaska natives, because if they go up in the wintertime up to their native villages, they'll come for the summer and be in Alaska. And then you can also go to the Alaska Native Heritage Center, one of the top Native Heritage Centers that we have in Alaska. And you can meet the first people of Alaska. They're incredible. They have so many great stories to tell about how they first got here, how they live today, how, depending on what region they're from, is how they live off subsistence life. And so at our center here, you can talk to the elderlies, you can dance with them, you can actually do storytelling with them, you can watch them make some of their wares and buy right from them. So absolutely incredible to have some type of cultural immersion in your Alaska trip. And we do honor that the land that we're on here in Anchorage is from the Dena'ina people and the first Athabascans that were here that met with the Russians. So we do acknowledge that we are on their land and for sure appreciate the gift that they gave us. But because of Alaska is so big and we don't have a wide variety of road systems, we have the busiest seaplane airport in the world. So this is Lake Hood, right next to our Anchorage airport. The same tower that controls our airport controls Lake Hood. And we'll have over 500 takeoff and landings in one day, because we understand there's so many great wilderness places to get to, amazing fishing to get to, and remote lodges. Or again, if you just want to do a day trip from Anchorage and get into some of our national parks, can all be done right here from Anchorage. And to see Alaska by plane or helicopter, you just see how vast and how large this amazing state is. So I always say, get up in the air and check out Alaska, because not only are you just taken in by the beauty, but you're looking for wildlife, you're going over glaciers, You just get to see the cities, you get to see all the different lakes and streams, and it is really cool. You can do it from an hour and a half trip to a full day trip. And I would like to say that Anchorage is open year round. And I would like to push for, if you are looking for 2021, to look into our fall season. Like I said, July and August are already pretty busy. We have definitely got some sold out dates because of people are coming, but September is looking pretty good for a great month to come. Some of the highlights that happen in September is our Northern Lights season starts. It's actually one of the best months to see the Northern Lights in Alaska, September and March, because those are the clearest days that we have here. And to see the Northern Lights when we still have the fall colors, it's pretty magical. Plus some great berry picking, our hiking, biking are open. And that's when our performing arts, that's when we get a lot of our performances coming into Alaska as well. So if you want to see a great show, we have a beautiful theater right in downtown Anchorage that comes in the fall too. And then if you are still interested in maybe that winter season, if fall's too soon, we'll be open this winter. The train's still going to be operating, and we're on a really high Aurora activity level. So think about an authentic Alaska winter trip. So again, we are open year round. We're not just a summer destination. But like I mentioned, car rentals are available in the fall. The train has more space in the fall too. And here you can start seeing our fall colors. So if you are thinking for 2021, look at September. Here's that beautiful shot. Just about 30 minutes outside of Anchorage on Knik Lake. And it's just breathtaking. And if I can entice you to come in winter, you can go back and watch our webinar with Travel and Relax. We did a whole special on why winter is amazing here, but it is really authentic. So check out that webinar that we did, and we do still have space this winter and going into 2022. And it's going to be the 50th running of the Iditarod this year for our dog sledding. So a pretty special month to come in March as well. And then I'm just going to keep enticing you on Northern Lights. Alaska is one of the best places on earth to see the Northern Lights. You stay 3 days, you have an 80% chance of seeing them. So if that is on your bucket list, call the team at Travel and Relax and come to Alaska. In the next 5 years, our Aurora atmosphere and activity is just, it gets higher and higher and higher up until 2028. So you have some time to do it, but I'm telling you, come to Alaska in winter, it will change your life. It's amazing. And like I mentioned, the 50th running of the Iditarod is going to happen in March. And who does not want to cheer on these athletes? The dogs love to run. And we do a ceremonial start in downtown Anchorage that first Saturday in March. And every 2 minutes, we have about 55 to 60 mushers that take off. And it's just a really, really fun, authentic time here in Anchorage. So let's quickly talk about traveling by Alaska Railroad. It's a very popular way to kind of start your land-based program here. So if you've been trying to get on a cruise the last 2 years and looking at 2022, a lot of that space is taken, or you do have your cruise booked, but their land is already full. There's still options, and Alaska Railroad's a great way. And I know Travel and Relax can book them. And we have 3 daily departures that leave from Anchorage every day. So the first one we're going to look at is going to be the Glacier Discovery train. So this is, we call the Disco train. So this is going to leave Anchorage at 9:45 a.m. and you're going to get all the way to Grandview at 3:20, and then it's going to work its way back. So you'll stop at the towns of Girdwood. You can get off in Portage, Whittier, Spencer, and Grandview. Here's that beautiful shot of the train going down the Turnagain Arm. So the Turnagain Arm just in itself is incredibly scenic. If you just stayed on the train, you're already seeing a ton of different wildlife and nature and beauty. So you have the Chugach Mountains there on your left, and then across the water is the Kenai Mountains. And the first stop is in the town of Girdwood. This is a glacier valley. It was founded because of gold mining, actually. But this is where Alyeska Resort is. So if you are looking at that winter itinerary, this is our year-round resort, but this is our big winter resort in the that opens right at the end. And the tram leaves right from this resort. What's really exciting is it's going to open like right around Labor Day, they say, is they're doing one of those Nordic spas. So over on the kind of that farther side of this picture, there's a beautiful 50,000 square foot Nordic spa that's going to open. So that's, you go from that hot pool to warm pool to cool bath, and they have massages and fire pits and dry saunas in this borealis setting. So can't wait for this to open. We're really excited, but many different trail systems and just relaxation all can be done here at Alyeska Resort. Here's the top view, because even if you can't stay at the resort, we always say take the tram and go up and just take in the views. If you do want a pretty big hike, if you want to hike up to about you start about 250 feet on the ground and you go up to 2,500, you can hike up Mount Alyeska and they'll give you a free tram ride down. So that'll save you a little money there. But this is that beautiful roundhouse, the original first lift that they built in 1960, but you can just see the views. Now you're looking down on the Seward Highway, the Turnagain Arm, and those two mountain ranges. Also, there's Portage. In Portage, there's, again, a ton of different activities to do. One of the popular ones is just to actually hike up to Portage and in Portage Pass, or you can do a 1-hour cruise that takes you up to the face of the glacier in Portage. The other stop was in Whittier. If you were to take the train into Whittier, Whittier will get you into Prince William Sound. Prince William Sound is the most glacier-fed sound in the world. On this cruise, in 5.5 hours, you will see 26 different glaciers. So you really get up close and to these tidewater glaciers. They'll turn off the engines of these boats. And I always say you can hear the snap, crackle, pop, and it's not your cereal. It's going to be that glacier that's going to be that calving off. And it's just magical. It's a crazy sound and experience that you hear. And then the boat will scoop up those ice and make you a glacier margarita as you sail back. And there's other options as well. There's a couple other more adventurous style boats out of Whittier. You can go kayaking here. You can do stand-up paddleboarding. You can actually go jet skiing up to these glaciers. Of course, we're going to put you in a wetsuit because our water is pretty cold here. It does get really warm, but what an amazing way to go up to a glacier is by a jet ski. So again, tons of different options. The other, if you were to stay on the train and you want to go to Spencer Glacier, the only way to get to Spencer Glacier is by the Alaska Railroad. So I say this is called getting off the grid and hitting this beautiful glacier where you can go kayaking, rafting, you do heli ski or heli hiking here. There's a cabin here too. You can do glamping here. So lots of different options to kind of get that more wild side of from wild to wild. But then if you want to just stay on the train, then you can get into Glacier View, which is the last stop. So if you have a multi-generational family that someone wants to get off in Spencer Glacier and spend some time exploring that area, maybe the grandparents want to go into Glacier View, again, only accessible by Alaska Railroad, take in the valley of that and the mass glaciers and mountains. And then they roll back in and they pick up their family and make their way back to either Girdwood or Anchorage. All right, so the next train is the Coastal Classic train. So this is going to leave a little bit earlier from Anchorage. This is 6:45 a.m. because they're getting you into Seward by 11:05. They want to get you into Seward by 11:05 because that's when a lot of the day boat cruises take off and go into Kenai Fjords National Park. So if you're trying to do just a day trip, it times out really well. It'll be a long day. You won't get back to Anchorage till about 10:45, but it is still possible. Or you can stay the night in Girdwood or Seward and it can pick you up the next day. So those are the stops for that one. So again, what's so great about Seward, again, get into Kenai Fjords National Park. We're really getting into that marine life and a lot of our glaciers are there too. Lots of whale sighting. We've been having amazing whale sightings this summer that they just come and play with the boat and you're just, again, you're checking off one of those national parks. And of course, you're also looking for the sea otters. Anytime you see a sea otter, you say, "Aw," because they are super cute. But you're looking for sea lions and seals and puffins and migratory birds and lots of fishing done here too. So if you are interested in fishing, Seward is catching halibut and silvers and rockfish and lean cod, and they'll pull up some shrimp pots right now too. So lots of seafood being caught in Seward. Okay, the next train that we have departing daily is going to head north now. So this is going to be heading towards Denali National Park and up to Fairbanks with stops in Wasilla and Talkeetna. So again, this one leaves Anchorage every day at 8:15 a.m. And you can see how it times out. It takes up until 4 p.m. to get to Denali. So it does take longer to get to Denali by train because you have these stops and the maximum speed that the train can go is 49 miles per hour because they're going around the rivers and glaciers and mountains. And then they get into Fairbanks at 8 p.m. So it is a full almost 12 hours on a train if you were to go all the way. But I always say, hop on and hop off on these different little towns and spend a little time there and explore them, stay the night, and then get on the next day because that train's going to roll on past you the next day. At the same time, they have a sister train that leaves from Fairbanks. So when that train leaves for Anchorage, they also have a train that leaves from Fairbanks. So we always have a northbound and southbound train every day between here. So easy access to that area. So what are you going to do maybe in the Palmer Wasilla area? There's some great hotel options. This is Knik River Lodge, beautiful lodge that overlooks Knik River, right around the corner, like literally within 5 minutes, there's Knik Glacier, massive glacier around the corner. They do helicopter flight scene here. They do dog sledding on the glacier. They have these awesome, I think they have about 22 different cabins. So if you want to feel like you're in the wilderness of Alaska, but you're only an hour north of Anchorage, Knik River Lodge is amazing. They also have a lot of glamping options here too. So over by Matanuska Glacier, they have those canvas tents that you can stay in too. So lots of really cool options in our valley. So, and then you can go on a trek on Matanuska Glacier. So I always say when you come to Alaska, how do you want to experience a glacier? Do you want to hike on one? Do you want to fly over one? Do you want to take a helicopter and land on one and drink the water? Do you want to do a dog sled team on one? Like there's so many different ways you can choose that adventure. And Matanuska Glacier is probably one of the coolest ones to actually put on those crampons and go walk on a glacier. And if you think about how old this ice is, I mean, it's thousands and thousands of years old. It's just so cool to go and explore. And that's one of my passions here is just exploring the glaciers and just how much they change from either going on it in the wintertime or exploring it in the summertime. It's crazy how much it can change in just a couple months. So I go visit them as much as I can. Also in our Palmer Wasilla area, this is our agriculture area. So this is where a lot of our vegetables are grown. So most of our restaurants try to serve our fresh Alaskan grown vegetables. And we always have a competition at our state fair. So if you are coming at the end of August, beginning of September up until Labor Day, our Alaska State Fair is in Palmer. It's a very local, fun state fair. We do have music acts that are actually flown in. I think, who did I hear is coming this year? I just went blank. I'll think about who it is, but pretty amazing acts that we get that come up here from every genre too. So, and then we have those competitions from our farmers of who can grow the biggest zucchini or who can grow the biggest pumpkin. And so far our biggest pumpkin was 2 years ago, and it was over 2,000 pounds. Our biggest cabbage was 138 pounds. So what we can grow really big. We just can't grow a ton of different variety of stuff, but the fair is really cool. So the next stop you can get off is Talkeetna. Talkeetna is based off that show Northern Exposure. It's just as quirky as that show was, if you do remember it, but just a plethora of outdoor activities can be done here in Talkeetna. And this is where the mayor lives. The mayor lives at Nagley Store. The mayor is a cat. So it's been a cat for many years. So you definitely got to go take a picture with, the cat's name is Denali, because you get some of the best views of Mount Denali right here from Talkeetna. I always say also when you're in Talkeetna is to go to the ranger station, because it'll say how many people are trying to summit Mount Denali at that time. And it's just fascinating. It tells how long they've been on the mountain, what kind of storms they've weathered, where they're from, because we get people from all over the world that want to summit Mount Denali. Because of course it's the biggest peak in North America, which is right here. I mean, it's a beautiful shot in Talkeetna. It has some of the best views from Denali. Sometimes when you're in Denali National Park, you're just right at that base of the mountain. So it's kind of harder to see, where in Talkeetna, you get that whole range. And on a beautiful day, Mount Denali, he is out in all his glory, and it is just beautiful. Also, some of the best flight seeing in and around Denali is from Talkeetna as well. So you'll fly over those base camps. You'll see all those climbers on the mountain. And then you can actually land on a glacier. This is Ruth Glacier. So in this amphitheater right there, you're 10 minutes from the summit of Mount Denali, like absolutely incredible. First time I did this as a local Alaskan, I mean, it really brought tears to my eyes. I also love when I get to take friends or groups up to Denali and do this. This was a lady from Texas, and it was her first time on a glacier, her first time on snow. And she's like, I'm taking off my shoes. And she did. So here she is barefoot on a glacier, right next to the summit of Mount Denali. So these experiences can be as unique as you want them to be when you visit here. And then I think the next thing she did was a snow angel, because, why not? We'd love to have fun here in Alaska. So make it your own. Also, as you head north in Talkeetna, in the town of Willow is where a lot of our dog sled teams are. So this is a chance to mush your own dog sled team. And each musher has a different way, whether it's pulled by, this one is more of a cart, where we have a couple other mushers that have built these smaller carts, and you take maybe 4 dogs with you, but you actually go on your own cart through the wilderness paths that they have built. So many different ways to play with the puppies, and they want to socialize these dogs to get them ready for that Iditarod. And most of them all have puppies that they let you hold too. So when you can hold a future athlete, a future champ, it's a pretty cool experience to hold their puppies. And then that last stop on that train would be Denali National Park, the most visited national park besides Glacier Bay here in Alaska, but it's just massive. You go there for the wilderness. You want to go into this park. This summer, they're only allowing the park to be open to mile 66. What is unique this year too, so if you do get here in the fall season, they will let you drive your own car if you do have your own car rental up until mile 30, about 33. So that's really unique. Normally that is never allowed. People always have to take, because it is a national park, the buses, but this year you can get to mile 33, which is pretty cool. And I've heard from a couple of people that have done it, and the wildlife that they're seeing has been awesome. So it's just a beautiful national park that we have here. I don't know, I'm gonna try to video. Is it playing okay?
Yes, it's playing all right.
I don't know if anyone's seen that. This is actually a new national campaign that we were running. So I wanted to show it right kind of at the end of this one, because you might see it. I don't know if you've seen it there in Denver or not, but it's a new little short commercial that we're running about Alaska as we move forward for the rest of this year, and then moving forward for 2022 for that summer season. It's been pretty amazing. We're happy that we're moving forward and do it in a safe way and in a friendly way. And again, if you do come this summer or this fall, just patience, as we've all had to be anywhere we travel, is just the shortage of staff and not being able to be fully operating as 100%. Most of like restaurants and hotels are at 70%, but we're open. So just a little patience, and it'll be a grand time. We're having a wonderful summer. And yeah, so I guess we'll see if there's any chats or questions, or if I didn't cover anything. So back to you, Rob.
Go ahead, Rob. Just real quick, I wanted to, again, thank you for that presentation. I'm curious about 2022, as you guys reopen and everything starts to flow, what is kind of the pathway that you feel like the reopening will take place? Or is it just kind of, are you guys going to do kind of a step-by-step, or do you feel like it's going to be like just come on in?
Well, that's a really good question. I think we've learned a lot from this summer. Like I said, we were open in 2020, but it was more local, and those that were willing to do the PCR test and get to Alaska was amazing. It was just quieter. 2021 has proven to be busier than thought, just because I think the incredible airfare that's out there right now, the incredible city pairing that's out there, it's taken less time to get here. But we weren't quite prepared because we weren't sure what that number was like. So like some of our car rental agencies didn't order their cars in time, or some of our local car rentals had cars ordered, but they're back ordered just because of, everything that's happening in the world. And then our hotels, we do, Alaska is such a strong tourism state that we do rely a lot on the J1 visa workers. And without those employees being able to come and help us this summer, we're really just struggling to find people because we just don't have the population in Alaska. So we are open, but 70%. So now moving forward to 2022, knowing that the cruise, what we're hearing from the cruise lines, and I'll learn more from the conference I'm at right now, is that they're pretty full because they've had to move the last 2 years of people. So as land packages and our local tour operators, we're making sure we can put everything in place to hopefully, be open to that 100% and be back to where we were in 2019. So again, I think it's just be impatient. I know if you are looking at 2022, maybe wait to start booking that in September. And don't worry, we still have land space available, but even the Alaska Railroad hasn't completely opened for booking for 2022 right now because we're just trying to get through 2021. So don't worry that there's not space. We definitely have space for 2022 for land packages. Just maybe start looking to book that in about September timeframe.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And by the way, we have not seen that commercial in Colorado yet.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
Unless I've been watching the wrong station. I don't know.
I know it's on NBC, but we just released that like a week and a half ago. So I was like, ooh, I want to play it for this webinar, but I never know how videos play. So that one seemed to work all right. So that's cool.
It did. We do have Fiona. She does have a friend that is interested in traveling to Alaska. So we're going to make sure that she gets to record so that way she can go over with her friends. And Rob and Lisa will help book that for her. And this is your tour guide over here, Tia.
That's right. So, we can help. Yeah. I'm just here I'm basically the extended sales force for Travel and Relax. So if you have any questions for them that they need, that they can build that perfect vacation for you, ask them the questions because they know they can ask me where that special cabin is, or that glamping is, or that special restaurant that you want to make sure you include, or maybe when's the best time to come fishing here, so feel free to reach out to us and make it your own. Don't be afraid to make Alaska your own. You can get off the beaten path, and there's some other really incredible places that people should visit. So
before I turn it over to Rob, I want to say, you've been with us for a while, and just want to make sure everybody knows this, and that she's one of the primary reasons that we have this tour still going and able to travel and visit and bring places such as Alaska to you, over the phone or over video, over Zoom, to just break away from the day-to-day. And as you can tell, Tia, she's full of spunk and full of energy, and it's people like her that really make what we do a lot better. So I just want to thank you, Tia, for just being there with us for so long and helping us through.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me back. And I didn't get a pick on you this time, but
I know. We'll see.
Blame it on my sleep deprived this time.
All right.
There is another question.
Yeah.
Where's okay. Which question?
We do have a question here, Tia. Wondering what you can tell about tours or the boat trip for the islands in the Bering Sea past Kodiak Island, including the Aleutian Islands, and access to that area.
If for this summer, it's very limited because that's through our Alaska Marine Highway. And that had a lot of cuts just because of from our state budget. I would say for 2022, that is something that our new mayor and governor are working on, is to have more access to that area. Also, there's a local carrier called Raven Air, and they're actually just starting to expand to some of these different regions as well. So if you are okay with flying on a smaller airplane, it's not a float plane. It's one of it's like a 16 to 30 passenger plane, but they're extending to all these really great regional areas of Alaska. That includes like the whole Aleutian Islands, Kodiak. They just added a flight to Valdez this week, over Cordova. So if you're looking to get into some of these little remote places, in the Alaska Marine Highway could be really tricky on their schedules to get them, but maybe even you can think of taking the Marine Highway one way and then flying back too. So with Raven Air coming into that market, it's making the airfare a lot more affordable. So I would say that would be a great way to travel to some of those destinations.
Related to that, if you wanted to do a day trip out of Anchorage to the Aleutian Islands using the Raven Air, is that feasible, or is it too long a distance to be able to do that?
It's feasible. I'd have to look and see what their schedule is for timing wise. I would say most of the time, if you're going to take a flight, I would probably stay at least one night, because you're kind of going into it like Alaska Native villages too. And it's just so fascinating. You learn so much that it'd be worth staying the night there. But there are trips where you can go fly out there, do a day trip and come back as well. So there are tours that, depending on what they're interested in doing just for the day, we'll take them out there and then fly back.
Okay. Would that region be open year round, or is that more of a summer destination?
That's more summer. No, that's definitely more summer.
Okay.
Depending on what you want to experience over there too. Like it's a very commercial fishing kind of area. So that's and in the wintertime, it's pretty harsh over there. The weather is very temperamental, so you could get stuck. So it's definitely more of a summer if you want that area of Alaska, especially like Kodiak Island as well. And especially the Alaska Marine Highway only operates in the summertime. So.
Okay. Good to know. Great.
Hey, quick question.
That is the questions we currently have. Maurice, are you going to?
Yeah, we have a question from Facebook. Sorry about that.
Great. Yeah.
We wanted to know, we have a viewer, Tina. She was asking about the lights and when's the best time to see them. I think it was, go ahead.
I would assume that's the Northern Lights. Yeah.
The Northern Lights. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, Tina, come. I'm telling you, Alaska's been just so on fire. So, I mean, we have one of the longest seasons. So we're going to start seeing in South Central Alaska, we start seeing the Northern Lights right around about the 10th to 12th of August. And we'll see them all the way until almost May. But the best months, the two best months we know for sure are September and March. Those are the 2 months that we have the most clear days. That's been proven by the science they've watched. But if you come during our darker months, if you come, you say December, January, February, March, any of those months, we have longer, darker hours. So the chances of seeing them even increase as well. But I like March if you want that winter experience where our average temperature is going to be in the 30s. And I always say for the Northern Lights is you want to do a combination of staying here in South Central Alaska and then going into the interior, because the look of the Northern Lights in our region versus the interior are different because of where the Aurora Oval is. So when you're in South Central, you're going to get this, it's going to be they're going to be dancing over our mountains and the water and the trees. So you get this really, especially if you're into photography, really cool landscape with the Northern Lights. When you're up in Fairbanks, they're right under the Aurora Oval. So you're literally, it's like a shower. So you're like literally looking up and they're just almost like a shower on you. So you're not going to really get that landscape in it, but it's a whole different experience. And because they are closer to the Aurora Oval, they'll get a little bit more of the dancing purples and pinks. So I always say the best way to get those Northern Lights is to make sure to include both those regions. And you'll have an 80% chance of seeing them. They're magical here. I try to tell so many people about Northern Lights in Alaska because they're just, they're incredible. And like I said, I saw this statistics about, those that are studying all the atmosphere and, the atoms and everything that needs to happen for them to explode up there and do their dance. We just, up until 2028, we're just climbing. So not that once that 2028 happens, they're not going to be around, but it's just they just are getting better and better. So please book that, Tina. Talk to your friends at Travel and Relax and come to Alaska Our operators know how to chase the lights too. Like they give you, they know the forecast. They're not going to take you out unless they're going to see them. They're including now, you can do snowshoeing under the Northern Lights. You can do ice fishing under the Northern Lights. You can go snowmobiling under the Northern Lights. So we're really building on this winter attractions as well. So. And I always say it's authentic here too. Alaskans, we kind of slow down in the wintertime too. So we really welcome visitors, I think, because of our not a lot of people here. So we always know that someone's not from here when they come visit. And don't be surprised by the very friendly people that you run into here in Alaska. We just like people in the wintertime to come, but it's really magical here. It really is. And it's easier to see the wildlife too. It's so much easier to see especially the moose in the wintertime, because they come down because the snow's so deep, they come off the mountains and they're literally right in our backyards, right in our streets and along our highways.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll get her response here shortly. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Rod, go ahead.
Yeah, one other question. In the winter, what is the average snow depth?
It's
when you say
we used to
deep
have
snow,
like,
what is a deep snow?
Yeah, it's been so different the last 5 years. It's harder to say. I can go off our Alyeska Resort. They're the ones that really measure our snow for us. And we used to say we got over 800 inches every year on our mountain. We've dropped that down because we haven't had as much snow the last few years, except for last year. Last year we got dumped on. That's why we could ski up until the end of May. And I would say we're right around like the 600 inches of snow. And yeah, I was shoveling my driveway every day in April. It was crazy, but we love it. That's the one thing we always say. Alaskans know how to play in the snow, and we want to play in the snow. So always send it our way. So usually most of the time there's always plenty of snow to play on, but we had it about 4 years ago. It was kind of a weird winter, but I think we all kind of had some crazy weather. And normally the first snow comes right around end of October, beginning of November timeframe, and sticks around until April.
Great, very helpful. Maurice, are there any other questions on your side or?
No other questions. Or? And what your conversation did do is for Tina, she's adding it to her list in September possibly. So that was a good encouragement. So we'll see what happens.
Definitely. And our fall colors, I mean, it's just beautiful. I mean, September is one of my incredibly favorite months here. It's just beautiful. And yeah, it's good, Tina. I'll see you here, and I'll buy you a beer or a coffee, whatever you're into. You let me know when you book with Travel and Relax, and I'll by golly, I'll meet you in Anchorage.
Awesome. But yeah, that's it on my end and on Facebook and also on chat. So I'll give it over to you.
All right. Well, I also want to thank Tia very much for having presented the excellent presentation tonight. As Tia alluded to earlier, Lisa and I have both been up to Alaska, and it's truly amazing state. My definition for Alaska is Colorado on steroids in terms of the remarkability of the entire state from the Arctic all the way south. So as Tia alluded to, there's plenty to see up there. Do make it your own when you go, and would be happy to help you do that. So I do want to thank Tia again for having presented tonight. Our next tour will be on Wednesday, August 4th, when we will be presenting to you an exciting cruise tour, which will be presented by Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines within our friends there. Registration for that will be available soon on our events page at travelandrelax.com. And we will have advertising going out for that as well on our Facebook page and other sites. We also invite you to check out our event page archives on our website, where you can also find replays of past tour destinations we have presented, And also, as Tia alluded to earlier, there is an awesome winter destination in Alaska presentation up there as well, which Tia presented earlier for us. Should you have any follow-up questions on travel to Alaska, or have other travel-related questions that we can assist you with, or if we can assist your service you in travel needs in any other way after tonight, please do let us know and we would be happy to assist you. And with that, we thank you very much for taking your time out of your evenings tonight to join us. And we thank you for attending. Look forward to seeing you in August. Thank you.
Bye, thank you.